He found out the truth about our marriage, but instead of shouting, blaming me, or breaking anything, my husband simply looked into my eyes and said, "Thank you for showing me the truth." Then he walked out. And I didn't see him again for months. I used to believe that the worst thing a husband could do after discovering betrayal was scream. I was wrong. Sometimes, silence hurts more than anger ever could. My husband, Daniel, had always been a calm man. He wasn't perfect. He forgot birthdays sometimes. He worked too much. He wasn't the kind of man who bought expensive flowers every Friday. But he loved me in quiet ways. He filled my car with fuel when he knew I had a busy week. He remembered how I liked my coffee. When I was sick, he would sit beside my bed and check my temperature every few hours. And whenever we argued, he never called me names. He would simply say, "Let's talk when we're both calm." For years, I thought that calmness meant he didn't care enough. I wanted excitement. I wanted attention. I wanted someone who made me feel like the center of the universe. And that's when another man entered my life. His name was Marcus. At first, it was harmless. We worked in the same building. He complimented me. He noticed when I changed my hairstyle. He sent messages during lunch. Daniel rarely noticed those little things anymore. At least, that's what I told myself. Soon, my conversations with Marcus became secrets. Then the secrets became meanings. And eventually, I crossed a line I could never uncross. I cheated on my husband. I knew it was wrong. Every single time I came home and saw Daniel waiting for me, guilt followed me through the door. But instead of stopping, I became better at hiding it. I changed my phone password. I deleted messages. I started coming home late. Whenever Daniel asked, "Everything okay?" I smiled and said, "Of course." He believed me. That was the part that hurt the most. One Friday evening, I came home much later than usual. Daniel was sitting at the kitchen table. The lights were off except for the small lamp beside him. I froze. "Why are you sitting in the dark?" I asked. He looked at me. "I was waiting for you." My heart started beating faster. "I'm sorry. Work was stressful." He nodded. "I know." Something about the way he said it made me nervous. I put my bag down. Daniel looked at my phone. Then he looked back at me. "Who is Marcus?" The room suddenly felt smaller. I couldn't speak. Daniel didn't raise his voice. He didn't slam his hand on the table. He didn't even look angry. He just waited. "Daniel. Please don't lie to me again." My eyes filled with tears. He already knew. I sat down. "I never meant for this to happen." He nodded slowly. "How long?" I couldn't answer. "How long?" he asked again. "Almost 6 months." He closed his eyes. For several seconds, there was complete silence. Then he asked the question I was afraid of. "Did you love him?" I whispered, "I don't know." Daniel looked down at the table. Then he smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who had finally stopped fighting with reality. He stood up. Walked toward the bedroom. I followed him. "Daniel, please. Let me explain." He opened the closet and took out a small suitcase. "Where are you going?" "I don't know yet." "Please don't leave." He stopped. Then he turned toward me. His eyes were wet, but his voice remained calm. "Do you know what hurts the most?" I shook my head. "It isn't that you chose someone else." He took a breath. "It is that I spent months wondering why you were becoming distant." I blamed myself. I started crying. I thought maybe I wasn't romantic enough. Maybe I worked too much. Maybe I wasn't making you happy. He looked directly at me. And now I know the truth. I reached for his hand. He gently pulled away. Then he said the words that would stay with me forever. Thank you for showing me the truth. I stared at him. What does that mean? It means I don't have to spend the rest of my life wondering what was wrong with me. He picked up his suitcase and walked out. No shouting. No revenge. No insults. Just silence. The door closed behind him. And for the first time, I understood what I had lost. The next morning, Daniel's side of the closet was empty. His toothbrush was gone. His shoes were gone. Even the little coffee mug he used every morning was missing. I called him. Straight to voicemail. I sent messages. No response. Days became weeks. Marcus was still there. But somehow, everything felt different. The excitement disappeared. I began realizing that the man I thought was boring had been the man giving my life stability. Marcus eventually stopped calling. When I asked him why, he said something that destroyed the fantasy I had built. You knew you were married when this started. Then he walked away too. I was alone. Completely alone. For the first time, I had nobody to blame. So I started changing. Not to get Daniel back. At least, that's what I told myself. I began therapy. I apologized to people I had hurt. I stopped making excuses. I learned that regret wasn't saying, I'm sorry. Regret was changing the person who had done the hurting. 3 months passed. Then 4. Then 5. One rainy evening, someone knocked on my door. I opened it. Daniel stood outside. He looked different. Not angry. Not bitter. Peaceful. I couldn't speak. Can I come in? He asked. I stepped aside. He entered. We sat in the living room. For several minutes, neither of us said anything. Finally, I whispered, How have you been? Better. I nodded. I'm glad. He looked at me. I heard you've been working on yourself. I'm trying. That matters. Tears filled my eyes. I don't expect you to forgive me. Daniel nodded. Good. I looked down. But I want you to know something, he continued. I didn't leave because I stopped loving you. I looked up. I left because I finally learned that loving someone doesn't mean accepting everything they do to you. Those words broke something inside me. I understand now. He smiled faintly. I hope you do. We talked for almost 3 hours that night. I told him everything. No excuses. No blaming. No, but you were always working. I simply admitted what I had done. Daniel listened. Before leaving, he said, I don't know what our future looks like. I understand. But I know I don't hate you. I started crying. Thank you. He stood up. Then he stopped at the door. I meant what I said that night. I looked at him. Thank you for showing me the truth. This time, I understood what he meant. The truth wasn't only that I had betrayed him. The truth was that we had both stopped communicating. I had chosen the wrong way to deal with my loneliness. And he had spent too long believing silence was enough to keep a marriage alive. Neither of us was innocent in the way our marriage had slowly fallen apart. But only one of us had chosen betrayal. And that was me. Daniel didn't immediately come back. We started slowly. Coffee. Walks. Long conversations. Sometimes we laughed. Sometimes we cried. Sometimes we remembered the good years. And sometimes we talked about the painful ones. It wasn't romantic at first. It was honest. Months later, Daniel asked me to dinner. At the end of the evening, he reached across the table and held my hand. I don't want the old marriage back, he said. I swallowed. Neither do I. I want something better. I smiled through tears. So do I. We didn't magically forget what happened. We didn't pretend betrayal never existed. Instead, we built something new from the pieces of what had been broken. Years later, I still remember that night when Daniel walked away without shouting. At the time, I thought his silence meant weakness. Now I know it was strength. He could have destroyed me emotionally. He could have embarrassed me. He could have taken revenge. Instead, he chose dignity. And somehow, his kindness forced me to look at myself honestly. Sometimes people think forgiveness means pretending nothing happened. It doesn't. Forgiveness can mean accepting the truth, learning from it, and deciding not to let hatred control your future. Daniel taught me that. He didn't save our marriage by forgetting my betrayal. He saved it by refusing to become cruel because of it. And I learned the hardest lesson of my life. You don't always realize the value of someone's quiet love until their silence becomes the loudest thing in the room. He didn't yell. He didn't revenge himself. He simply walked away and thanked me for showing him the truth, and that was the moment I finally understood how much I had lost. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe to the channel for more emotional real-life love stories about love, betrayal, forgiveness, kindness, and second chances.